Oh, this is an embarrassment. This Australian rugby is an embarrassment. I don't know what else to say. This was horrendous and absolute torture to watch as an Australian fan. And don't you wish you if you're a Crusader fan, you are one lucky person that your team is this damn good at rugby, okay? And you never have to suffer losses, almost never have to suffer losses. And yeah. You know, when I was watching this game, the first thing came to my mind is this. The mercy law. So this happened in 2014. They in Australian junior rugby, they introduced this thing called the mercy law, where if a team loses by 30, it's down by 30 points at any point, one player goes off the field. This applies for under 18 games. And if you lose a second player, you lose a second player if you're 40 points ahead, and third player 50 points ahead. That's the maximum you can lose. And the player starts to get back on the field when the other team catches up, right? And yeah, applies to this came into play in 2014 in some parts of Australia, I think. So some of the Wallabies players, current players in the professional teams, the younger ones, would have played under this rule, right? 2014, and they would have been like under, minimum age 13. So they could be born in year 2000 and actually played under this rule, and that are currently in, the Reds. And yeah, this came to my mind. Like it was, maybe the Reds, maybe some of the players are used to having one person off the field when their team gets ahead, when their team gets behind by too much, And yeah, this is atrocious, absolutely atrocious. I don't know what to say. Richie Mo'unga was absolute superstar. Every time he touched the ball, he looked like he's gonna score. He looked electrifying, absolutely electrifying. Richie Mo'unga, when he touches the ball, when he moves around, he's a tiny guy, makes all his tackles, and got all his kicks. Perfect kicking from Mo'unga tonight. And yeah, it was basketball scores for the Crusaders. I don't know. I don't know what to say. New Zealand rugby is just better than Australian rugby, and yeah. I don't know. I don't know what to say. Let's go. I guess let's just go through the game. There's a lot to go through. There's a lot of tries to talk about. So first try, 5 minutes in, scored by Richie Mo'unga. The Reds had like a, I think the Reds, so right away the Reds almost scored a minute into the game. The Reds were inside the Crusaders 5-meter line and had a full-on penalty. They took a quick tap, passed the ball to Tupou, and Tupou, as he crashed over the try line, he gets the ball stripped from him. So Reds could have almost got the first points on the ball 1 minute in. But the Crusaders defense, it's world class. Not going to let you score that easily. You probably could have scored against a Australian team, but not against Crusaders. So 1 minute in, Tupou almost scores for Reds, but that turns out to be just a false alarm. The Reds, literally after that, had looked like no chance of scoring. Like that was the only chance in the first 35 minutes that the Reds looked like they were going to score. That's 1 minute in. Anyway, so at one point, around 4 minutes in, Reds had the ball inside their own 22, and they, some reason, decided to run the ball out of their own 22. Throws the ball across their own goal post, and sure enough, there was a mishandle. Ball hits the ground. Richie Mo'unga scoops it up, runs through for the first try. 5 minutes in, handling error in front of inside their own 22 leads to the first try for the Crusaders. And the Crusaders is not to be done by that. 5 minutes later, there was a Several Reese goes in for the second try for the Crusaders. There was a short pass offload to Mo'unga, and then a pass and Mo'unga passed to Jaeger, and then Jaeger passed to Several Reese, who ran a really good underline. And Several Reese, just 5 minutes later, goes in. Second try for the Crusaders. Just the Crusaders' handling is sublime. It's actually just beautiful to watch. If you're a rugby fan, the way Crusaders handles the ball, the way they offload, the way they shift the ball around the field, is just beautiful to watch. Absolutely, it's like an art, like a flow, it's like a flow of artwork that flows around the field. Like, it's absolutely spectacular to watch. This is one of the few tries that's kind of scored result of their just good handling, players supporting each other, running different lines. Second try, Several Reese. So third try, there was another 3 minutes later, Crusaders, 14 minutes, Crusaders gets their third try from Will Grace. There was a chip over the top by one of the backs from Crusaders. It was a chip over the top by the Reds. So the Reds, again, similar to Lolosio, O'Connor was doing all these weird, like, chip over kicks, crossfield kicks, just weird kicks for no purpose. If you're going to do these kicks, at least be in the right position. Like, in the position to score a try, a crossfield kick would be good. It just, like, boggles my mind. They just randomly do, like, chip kicks over the top, inside the own 40 line. Like, inside your own half, do a little chip over the top. You regather the ball, right, great. And you're still 50 meter out. Like, that's basically what happened here. Did a chip over the top. He regathered the ball, O'Connor. Great job. But the Reds' backline was basically in tatters. And the halfback gets the ball out. He throws a pass to one of his own players. Like, there was just, like, the backline was the Reds' own backline was in, like, tatters. He throws the pass and he gets intercepted by who was it? I don't have the name, but it gets intercepted by the Crusader team. They run pretty much, they link the whole field. Good support from their own teammates. And Will Grace goes in for the third try for the Crusaders. And then at this point, like, it's the thing about what's really frustrating about up to this point is that the Reds just hasn't looked like they're doing anything. It hasn't looked like they're threatening. Whereas every time the Crusaders got the ball, they're just punching lines left and right, getting over past the advantage line constantly. Okay, I've got a stats here at this point in the game. This is 32 minutes into the game. Okay, the Crusaders had 43 runs, and 36 of the 46 runs went past the advantage line. So the ball went past. So then the next, the gang territory they ran when they ran the ball. So that's basically most of the runs they were gaining territory, just running the ball, and that's very impressive. So 28 minutes in, there was this Crusader scrums seems to be a little bit better than the Red scrum as well. There was a short arm penalty for the Reds. So the Reds opted for a scrum. And the scrum gets turned over by the Crusaders. And then the Crusaders opted for another scrum. And sure enough, there was a full-on penalty. So the ball comes out. There was a loose pass. So the halfback the scrum was a bit scrappy, but the Crusaders did the full-on penalty. The ball comes out. The halfback kind of rushed the throw. He kind of threw the ball back towards Mo'unga, but he just like overthrew Mo'unga and he just landed on the ground, bounced on the ground. Mo'unga casually. This is like seriously, Mo'unga is so good. You would not believe he can score from this. Okay, like he literally made it look like he was playing against schoolboys. He runs back, picks the ball up, just runs around like this big loop back to get the ball up, runs back into the defense line. He just like steps in as he runs in the first defense, did a inside step and just runs straight through for his second try, 28 minutes in. Like it just literally came out of nowhere. The ball was on the ground, rolling backwards. He runs back, scoops it up, just casually runs the loop, like steps inside, goes through like two defenders, try. He literally made it look like he was playing against kids. Richie Mo'unga. Unbelievable. He's not just like the best 5'8" in the world. He's by far the best 5'8" in the world. I don't remember Dan Carter being this good, to be honest. The way he's able to just the way he carries the ball, not like the way the decision making of like whether he passes and whether he sees opportunity for himself and he runs the ball, it's just spectacular, like unbelievable. The amount of athleticism, the agility that this man has is next level, and his decision making on the field is impeccable, and his kicking is perfect. I think it's like this performance from Richie Mo'unga really sets him apart to be probably the best 5'8" from New Zealand ever. Like, it's unbelievable. I'm just... Anyway, he literally made this look like he was playing against kids. And he's a tiny guy. He's the smallest guy on the field. Anyway, he just casually strode through for the fourth try. And that was 4 tries down from Reds, 0 points for the Reds after 28 minutes. And the Crusaders were up 4 converted tries. So finally the Reds gets their first try by Tate McDermott. So McDermott was they were putting a lot of pressure on the Reds, were putting a lot of pressure on. There was some really good offloads from the Reds, and McDermott gets the ball and he crashed over, scores, but he scored, first time he scored, they had rerun all the offloads, and there was a knock on in one of the offloads from the Reds. So the first try was cancelled. They go back, and the Reds, they go back for offside, which was right in front of the Crusaders post, 5 meters out. Instead of going for a line out, the Reds opted for a scrum, despite the fact that the scrums hasn't been going well for them, which was really weird. And then the scrum, let me have a look. Did they go for a scrum? Yeah, they went for a scrum. Despite that, the scrum didn't go too well. But anyway, the scrum collapses. Luckily, the scrum collapses. It was pretty even. It didn't look like it was either team's fault. The scrum collapses. The referee penalized the Crusaders for collapsing the scrum. It was like a 50-50. Maybe the Crusaders slipped. But 50-50, very lucky the Reds got the penalty. Tate McDermott takes a quick tap, just starts straight in, and puts the ball down right under the goalpost for the first try for the Reds. A very frustrating try for the Reds. 35 minutes in. And that was the only try in the first half for the Reds. First half finished with the Reds 1 try from Tate McDermott, quick tap, and Crusaders 4. Anyway, let's keep going. There's still plenty more tries to come. Second half starts. Again, as I've mentioned before, in the Brumbies and Chiefs game, it really shows like the mentality of these teams when you come out of the second half. Crusaders being up 3 tries to 1 still came out swinging for the fence. And the Reds didn't look like they really lifted much from the first half, and the Reds were didn't look like they were didn't look like they were really lifted and level when they came out. So despite the fact that we're losing, the Crusaders actually looked like they were lifting the intensity. Anyway, the Reds had a penalty. Okay, this is something that kind of weird happened at this point. Reds had a penalty inside their own 40, and I think it was offside or something. Not a big issue. Reds obviously tries to kick the ball out for a line out. The ball goes out, right? And Seville Reese was standing outside the line, the field. He runs up, catches the ball outside the field, and then he lands inside the field in some weird twisted body way, right? And apparently the rule says that is play on. I am pretty sure the rules they actually apparently they changed the rules on this, because I am pretty sure you need to jump from infield to get the ball out, to get the ball back inside. You can't jump from outside the field into the field and catches the ball on your way in. That doesn't count. You have to jump from in the field to get the ball back into the field, to loop the ball back in the field. That's the rule. You need to be infield as you were making a play for the ball. You can't be making the play ball from outside the field and then catch this ball in the air and land inside. You need to be inside the field, making a play, jump out to try to get the ball back in. I'm pretty sure that's the rule. So for some reason, the commentators were bewildered, and they're like, that's the new interpretation. I personally have never seen that before. In fact, the times I've seen it was deemed, the only times I've seen it was many years ago, and that's only, and when I did see that, the explanation was that ball is still out because the player had to play the ball from in the field to get the ball back to play the ball for the ball to be valid. You can't play the ball from outside the field and bring it in. You have to play the ball from in the field. You have to go out from in the field to play the ball back inside. That's kind of the rule. So you have to jump out to get the ball back in. You can't jump in from the outside to get the ball in. So I'm pretty sure, I don't know what happened here or what's the rule change, but apparently that's fine. He jumps from outside the field into the field and catches the ball on his way in, lands inside the field. The referee goes, play on. So the Reds misses a penalty kick from that in a really weird circumstance. And there was a... Anyway, so the Crusaders from there on, putting pressure back on the Reds. They were pretty close to... They were pretty close to the Reds. They were putting pressure on Reds again. They were pretty close to the Reds try line again, about 5 meters out. And this time the ball went to Havili. Havili looks across and sees Seville Reese in open space. He did a crossfield kick in goal. Seville Reese, the speedster, runs in, catches the ball, puts the ball down. Just literally looked like a flash of red light. Burns in. Easy. The ball was bouncing on the ground as well. It wasn't an easy take. It wasn't a clean take. The ball was bouncing. Takes the ball anyway. He had literally half a meter to work with on the sideline. Catches the ball. Puts the ball down. Try time. That's the first try in the second half. 3 minutes in. Only 3 minutes in. So Seville Reese, in 3 minutes, saves a penalty and scores a try. Unbelievable performance once again. And then 10 minutes later, there was another try for Muonga. Okay? Let me have a look what happened here. Okay, so unlike the Reds kicks, the Crusaders, when they put in a kick, they really targeted something. The Seville Reese try, it was a very targeted kick in the end zone. The Reds were doing these crossfield kicks inside their own 50, barely in the halfway point. They're doing these crossfield kicks. I don't get it. Why are you doing a crossfield kick in your own 50? That's just so stupid. Anyway, so instead of doing stupid things like that, they were doing very clinical kicking all around the field. So there was a high ball that the Crusaders put up, and they recovered themselves, right? Which led to a quick ball, which led to basically the Reds shuffling backwards, and Crusader had a quick ball out from that recovery ball. The ball goes to Mwanga, and Mwanga looks up, and he sees two forwards in front of him, two forwards defending in front of him, and he just decides to take a run because that's a big mismatch. Two big lumbering forwards, and Mwanga's footwork was just way too good. He runs straight at the 9 and 10 channel, which is now guarded by two forwards. He runs straight, slips through the two forwards, neither of them touched them. James O'Connor was nearby. He tries to make a tackle, but Mwanga was too agile, just runs straight through for his third try of the evening. Like, literally, he looked like he was playing against amateurs. Like, he make it look so easy. These two giant men standing in front of him look like just lumbering idiots falling over, not even touching him as he strode through for the third try. Like, that is how unbelievably good Richie Mwanga is. Unbelievably good. It's just, I am speechless at how ridiculously good this guy is. Like, professional athletes. He's just running through them like they don't even exist. He's just like, I don't understand how this works. It's like effortless as well. He makes it look so easy, so effortless. He makes professional athletes look like lumbering trees falling over. I don't know what to say. Amazing, just unbelievable performance. It's like I can't believe like how good this guy actually is. Third try for Richie Mwanga, and that's the second try in the second half for the Reds. Okay, and the pain didn't stop. 5 minutes later, the Reds were under the pump once again. Right, once again. So at this point, Andrew Mertens actually pointed out that the Crusaders' attack is just sublime against the Reds. Like, they're making half breaks everywhere. They're just, every time they make a half break, they're looking to link up, and they're managing to successfully link up and just gaining massive distance against the Reds. And Andrew Mertens actually pointed out that the Crusaders is actively looking for mismatches around the field. They're positioning their forwards and their backs to mismatch the Reds forwards and backs. So they will put a forward somewhere to try to mismatch a smaller back to get that advantage line. And they will try to get a back, and then they will try to set up a back like Richie Mwanga against, two lumbering forwards and get space created for Richie Mwanga in that way. So they're actually shuffling the attack according to how the Reds are set up to create mismatch around the field, which is why the Crusaders are actually able to make these gains look so easy. They're making these half breaks, these slip throughs, these offloads look so easy because they're able to set themselves around the field for the mismatches that they're looking for. And it's just spectacular to watch, actually. It's very, very, very good rugby. Very good rugby. Like, I don't even know how a team can get this good at rugby. Like, I've just unbelievably good. Okay, this is like watching. Yeah, like the Crusaders are way better. It's truly a full level above the Reds in this night. Okay, so they put so much pressure on the Reds. They ended up being a there was they went for another penalty on the Reds. There was a line out, and there was there was a maul set up for the line out, and as the maul was going in, the Reds could not stop the maul. As the maul was going over, the Reds illegally claps it. The referee blows the whistle. Penalty try. Penalty try for illegally claps in the maul, and the yellow card for the Reds substitution number 19. Number 17. I think number 17. But anyway, McRae gets yellow carded, and he like wrongfully yellow carded, and then the referee realized him in the wrong. He calls him back and sends off the right guy, number 17. Anyway, who cares? So Reds has a yellow card at this point as well, after a penalty try, and finally, the Reds, someone stepped up on the Reds team to try to, redeem some kind of face for the team. Wilson gets in, and he's like, for the next literally 10 minutes, he played out of his freaking mind, dude. This guy, he's just literally played out of his mind, okay? Harry Wilson played like a god for 10 minutes. Okay, so he scores a try for the Reds. So the Reds wasn't going anywhere. They spread the ball out wide to Wilson. He gets the ball. He had a bit of overlap, so he gets the ball. He runs down. The defender that was covering him kind of like missed the tackle. He runs down, and Will Jordan sweeps in to tackle him. He's not fast. Like, Harry Wilson's number 8. He's not that fast. So he's just like running along, and he sticks his hand out, holds the ball. He sticks his hand out like this. He had Tupou in support, okay? Tanela Tupou. Yeah, the prop. Will Jordan comes up to cover him. He sticks the ball out, and he did this. He just went, whoop. He just went, whoop, like this. And Will Jordan completely got sold and turned his attention towards Tupou. And then Wilson just like kept running and just scores a try. Like a really 50-meter run for him. And he scores a try. Like, you just like, there were so many Crusader players around him. And everybody's looking at Tupou. Like, where's the ball? What happens to the ball? He just went like that. Stick his one hand out like this. Like this. And then he just brings the ball back to himself. And he just like struts his way through for a try. And then a few minutes later, he did something amazing again. The Crusaders were trying to get the ball out, so try to do a chip kick. So Crusaders were trying to do a box kick or a chip kick or something. He gets in, he charges the ball down. Okay, Wilson, and this is within 10 minutes, right? Right away, he's just playing out of his mind at this point. He charges the ball down, regathers it. Again, the Crusaders players were sweeping in to cover him. He throws the ball over his head like this without even looking. He just goes, whoop! And then it lands on the guy who was behind him coming in to support him. What's the man with the sweetest name in the world? Vunivalu. Let me say it correctly. Vunivalu. Suliasi Vunivalu. The guy with the sweetest name in rugby. Suliasi Vunivalu. Okay? The Superman gets the ball. He just like running, palms off one defender, scores a try. He looked really good as well. Vunivalu. He looked very unstoppable when he had the ball. And he looked very threatening to score a couple times in this game, actually. So he gets the overhead thrown ball and he gets the try. So back-to-back tries for the Reds. All came from just, Superman performance by Harry Wilson. It's just unbelievable. 10 minutes from Wilson. Like, I don't know what else to say. Like, just played out of his mind for about 10 minutes, and then he gets subbed off. Okay, so fun's over. And then after that, 2 tries from the Reds. The Crusaders are building pressure back against the Reds again. You look like the game was gonna set it down. Like, the Reds may not lose any more points and maybe try to crawl back a bit after that. But once Wilson went off, the rest of the Reds team just, I don't know, hate to say it, didn't really have the heart to carry on. But Wilson, he was really good. Vunivalu was really good as well for the entire duration of that second half. Anyway, Crusaders eventually managed to Crusaders managed to eventually get the next try. Again, they managed to get back onto the front foot, put a lot of pressure on the Reds. They went for another line out. Another penalty given against the Reds. Crusaders went for the line out. They came in, quick ball, pick and go. And eventually, Williams gets the ball, puts down for the try. And he's a big guy. He just came off the field. Williams, he's a big, I think, substitution prop for the Crusaders. He gets on the field, the big man. He just like pick and drive. That's what he does the best. Runs in, rummages himself in for his first try. Literally the first time he touched the ball on the field. First try for his career, I think. And yeah, Crusaders just, again, quick ball from a line out. Clinical, crisp, clean execution. Try time. Looks so easy. And then 5 minutes later, Cody Taylor goes in for the Crusaders' final try, the 9th try of the evening for the Crusaders. And this is, once again, the Crusaders just floats the ball, okay? I wouldn't say they pass the ball. The ball literally floats across the field to the sideline, okay? From one end, and this was like 40 meters out as well. Floats the ball just across the field to the sideline. And then there was a bit of a overlap sideline. And the guy on the wing, as he's getting past, throws the ball back into his inside support to Cody Taylor. And Cody Taylor just like, yep, thanks very much. Runs in for the 9th try. It was just like so easy, so smooth. Something that the Crusaders have been done the whole game. Silky hands across to the sideline. As the player's getting tackled or pushed out, throws the ball back in. Try. There's nothing fancy, just basic stuff. Like this, everybody, like, you know, there's nothing crazy. It's not like, for some reason, you know, the Reds have this idea that they need to create some opportunity with some crazy convoluted chip kick over the top play. Same with the Brumbies today, actually. They're doing the same thing. They feel like they need to do some crazy chip kick play and then get the ball back and create some kind of chaotic situation and try to score from that. There's nothing like that. They just spread the ball out wide, silky smooth hands, gets up past the advantage line, inside ball. Cody Taylor was there, in support, runs in for the try. Too many people supporting, and there was not enough defenders, basically. And then on the very last minute, the Reds really want to get a consolation try. It did look like the Crusaders was going to score another one. But like the Reds really, you know, clammed it down and managed to put themselves back in. And then they were just basically trying to get a consolation try before the end of the match. The Reds were running. I think there was a point where the Crusaders looked like the thing that you really have to mind about Crusaders. At this point, even I'm tired watching this game. And the Crusaders were just still clinging on every inch, not letting the Reds score. The Reds team almost scored around the 78th minute, but the Crusaders were clinging on, and I think there was a knock on as the Reds player went over, literally clinging on and forced a knock on as the Reds player was going over. And the referee went to TMO review. Okay, this is a bad team review. So Cody Taylor gets a yellow card. He makes a tackle. It's actually not it's just referee being bad. This is just a pure bad referee decision. So the referee says Cody Taylor illegally popped the ball out, basically in the held onto the ball, popped the ball out, and full on penalty against the Reds. So anyway, basically the Reds made a break. They were about 5 meters out. Cody Taylor makes the tackle. He gets up. He lets go of the player very briefly, puts his hand on the ball, and he kind of pops the ball out. And the referee goes, he was playing the ball on the ground. Which the replay clearly, they show the replay. He clearly, in fact, they had to review the subsequent try that Reds knocked on. They went back and watched the so-called illegal play for Cody Taylor. It literally showed that he made the tackle, textbook tackle, gets up on his feet, releases the player, puts his hand back on the ball, and the referee says he played the play while he was on the ground. It was literally a textbook play for Cody Taylor. He did absolutely nothing wrong. And the referee insisted that he was playing the ball while he was on the ground, which he wasn't. He was on his feet. So anyway, despite the slow-mo replay showing a textbook jackling technique from Cody Taylor. Yeah, and referee goes, nah, you're playing the ball off your feet. Is it Cody Taylor? No, it wasn't Cody Taylor. It was was it Cody Taylor? Was it Will Jordan? I think it was. I think it was Will Jordan, not Cody. I think it was Will Jordan that got number 15. I think it was Jordan. No, not Cody Taylor. It was Jordan. Will Jordan that got penalized. I've got the wrong name down here. It was number 15. Despite the perfect display of jackling, like if you want to know how to jackal, literally show them that, and then it'll be like literally the perfect moves. But anyway, referee yellow cards him. Finally, Reds has one player advantage. They went for a line out, and the line out kind of didn't go anywhere, collapsed. But they end up with pick and drive, and they get a consolation try. Payenga Mosa, he was really close to try line, basically picks the ball out. All he had to do is shift like an inch, like not an inch, like, a foot, put the ball down. For Reds' fourth try on 79th minute. But yeah, this was a horrendous display from the Reds. And this was a record losing margin for the Reds ever against any team. Yeah, this Crusader team, and to think that the Reds was the almost undefeated Super Rugby champions, and they get a huge loss like that at home, that is embarrassing. That is very, very embarrassing for Australian rugby. I don't know what to say. The Crusaders the Reds didn't really make that many mistakes, but they just tiny little mistakes here and there. And the Crusaders were just clinical execution, purposeful kicks, never surrender mentality. I don't know what to say. Just too good. Like next one level above. It was like watching international team play the Crusaders. It was like watching international team playing a tier 1 international team playing a tier 2 international team. That's basically what it looked like. It looked like it looked like, I don't know, like All Blacks playing against Italy. Like a tier 1 nation play. I think Italy's technically tier 1, but they're so bad. It's like, it's so easy for the New Zealand team. But yeah, if you're a Crusader fan, lucky you. You don't have to suffer through this. This is torture for me. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. Hope you had a nice weekend. I'll see you out, guys, next week for some rugby news. I've got some stuff to talk about from Australian rugby. And thanks for watching, and see you guys next week. Cheers.